I'm seeing all these creators say they can magically book meetings using Claude, but after watching these videos, I've realized they don't even do what they teach. They're only making these videos so that they can get views. So what I want to do in this video is share with you realistically how I personally use Claude to generate meetings every single day on LinkedIn, all the way from optimizing my profile, creating content, and even reaching out to people in the DMs. Now, if you're not technical and you don't know how to code, don't worry, because I'm going to show you how to use Claude in a way where literally you can be a beginner and start booking meetings right away. And this is the exact setup I use to get clients and run my business online while living in Vietnam. All I need is a laptop, an internet connection, and I'm good to go. And to make this all happen, the first step is actually optimizing your profile, because if you don't have a clean, optimized profile that demonstrates value, literally everybody's gonna ignore you. All right, so from a high level perspective, this is how we're gonna do it. In the beginning, it's all about optimizing your profile, because if you don't have a good profile, no one's gonna take your content seriously. And when you do outreach and you wanna talk to people, they're gonna look at you and make a quick judgment. If it doesn't look good and you're not making a good impression on the first 5 seconds, forget about anybody wanting to book a meeting with you. So we start with the profile first, then we're gonna go into content and outreach, and finally, we put that all together for you to actually book calls and meetings and close some deals so that you can sign clients using LinkedIn. So obviously, we're gonna use Claude the whole way through to make all this stuff way faster and way more better than you could do it by yourself. Now, in the spirit of Claude, I actually built this entire website for you today to kind of explain how you're going to get clients on LinkedIn using Claude, right? And so it's so powerful. I just want to share with you the power of AI these days. I literally just wrote one prompt into Claude and it created this whole thing for us today, right? And this is what I'm going to use to kind of share some of the ideas I have for you. So the main thing is your profile is kind of like a sales page, right? It's not really a resume when you're using it to try to get clients. They're going to look at your profile and make a quick judgment on whether or not they think you can bring value. Okay. Most people think of it like, oh, I'm trying to get a job with it, but no, you're a business owner or you're trying to sell something, right? Think of it like a landing page where your goal is to convert them into a potential meeting or even wanting to respond to you, right? So obviously the main things, write a really clear focused headline, tell your story, make sure you're different from everybody else, right? Especially if you have unique stories, and then, have a clear featured page section within your profile. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna use my profile as a first example. And then, this is something that I've already wrote. I already optimized it for me to generate meetings, which I've generated a lot using LinkedIn, but I'm gonna use Claude to make this significantly better. And all the tools and skills that I'm gonna use in this video, I'm gonna give to you for free. So you can get the resource using the link in the description for that. So in Claude, we have these things called skills. And a skill is essentially just a prompt where if I type in / and I type in the skill, what I can do with this one is I can copy and paste any LinkedIn URL profile, put it in, and then it will find ways for me to make it better. Now, if you want this skill for free and all the other skills that I have for you in this video, you could check the link in the description, download all of it and install it within your Claude. It's free, it's easy, you'll get it done in like 2 minutes, right? So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna get my URL and then I'm just gonna copy and paste it here. And then I'm gonna say, help me make my LinkedIn profile better. Well, it already has all the prompts and everything inside, so I don't have to explain too much, but you see with the power of a skill, it would just kind of do the whole work for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the results. The first thing is I had the skill define what my archetype should be. So they're saying that I should take the perspective of someone who's on the journey, building my business, showing lifestyle and proof that I actually live the life I live, because it knows by looking at all my content on LinkedIn that I'm building an online business in Vietnam, and it's an aspirational lifestyle a lot of people aspire for, right? So it's like you're not just teaching it, you're living it. So, I do Muay Thai, live in Vietnam, hang out with my girlfriend, basically health, wealth, relationships. If I showcase that more in my content, that's what it's saying, more and more people would, like my personal brand, right? Now, in terms of what I'm doing well and what I'm not doing well, authenticity, not bad, real story, real numbers, good. Leverage, 5 out of 10. So it's saying the whole AI narrative is not there, which is true. I haven't updated my LinkedIn to include all the different AI aspects like I have on YouTube, right? Which is room for improvement, easy. Effort required, 9 out of 10. So that's just saying for me to share my real life is actually very easy because I don't have to pretend to make content. I can just show you my world, and that just makes for better content. So quick audit. So what's working? My about section is working. Specific numbers, cool. What's missing? The whole AI angle, like we said. And then what it's saying is I should probably change my header so that it's more differentiated from everyone else, right? So if I say helping founders build personal brands, cool, everyone's doing that. But if I said something specific for my ICP, then maybe it's going to be a lot more interesting, right? So here are their recommendations. Running a 7-figure business from Vietnam, I help corporate professionals turn their skills into an income using personal branding and AI. Very clear. The market wants it. That's actually a pretty good suggestions, right? This one, kind of whack, Muay Thai at 8 a.m. I don't think people get it. And then third one, your corporate skills are worth more online than your job. Kind of interesting for, especially the nine to fivers who have skills, who want to work with me. That might be it, right? So I would say option number 1, option number 3 is pretty good. And then it kind of goes into the about section and rewrites it to make it unique. So the key for your profile or your profile optimization in the about section is, what are you doing that's different from everybody else? So if you teach personal branding, what's your unique story where someone would want to learn from you versus the other guy, right? And so no matter what industry you're in or what skill you're selling, everything's commoditized. So it's about your brand and your story and your unique beliefs. So for people who aspire to work online, build an online business, want to quit their 9-to-5 job, those are the things and stories I should be leveraging, right? So that's why it says like, oh, okay, like I had a 6-figure tech sales job at Oracle and then took my life savings, moved to Thailand, all that kind of stuff, right? So, and then the feature section is telling me to do a training. And so you guys get the idea. And what's cool is, with all this information, I said, hey, generate me a lookalike of what my LinkedIn profile can look like. So when it's giving me all these things, I can pretty much just copy and paste it into my profile. So the main thing here is optimize your profile in a way that makes you different, but also shows value to your specific ICP. And by the way, if you're someone who is looking to build an online business, build your personal brand, and sign clients, I actually have a free training where I'll teach you my entire blueprint from A to Z on how you can get started, find your business idea, how to create your first pieces of content, and even how to close deals. It's a completely free training, so go ahead and click the link in the description to sign up now, and I will catch you there. So now we're gonna go into content strategy. And the main thing is, before you post anything, you need to first understand what's going to make you different, what do people want to hear that nobody else is saying, and how can you find a gap that's not being filled. So the best thing you can do is really just analyze your competitors, see what's working, see where they're lacking, and find the gaps. And the fastest way to really do this is to use another skill. So I got a skill for you. It's called the LinkedIn Content Analyzer, right? So let's go ahead and just copy this prompt in there. And then I want to replace this with my niche. Okay, so I'm going to use myself as an example. Let's say my niche is personal branding, building a one-person business, selling your skills online, escaping your 9-to-5. I'm going to also add AI content systems, ideal clients. Let's just say highly skilled 9-to-5 employees who want to start their own business. So what's going on now is I actually gave Claude control over my computer. So it's literally going on LinkedIn to find my competitors, researching their profile, all of their content in the past, I think like 30 days plus. And it's gonna give me a full breakdown of a competitive analysis. So as you can see inside the, the chat, it's like doing all the work, right? And then you can follow along on, your browser to see like what it's actually doing. Okay, so what I had to do is I went on my personal LinkedIn profile, had it pull up all my content to see which one is going to be the one that performs the best. And clearly it's going to be my origin story of how I went from Oracle to Thailand, quit my 6-figure tech sales job to build an online business living in Vietnam, right? So that's the narrative that has worked for me the strongest, okay? And it's public information. You can do this on my profile. You can do it on other people's profile to reverse engineer what works, right? And then the data is basically saying like, hey, specific stories and specific numbers are working really well. Long form posts are outperforming videos by 3x. That's pretty interesting. And that's actually really good to know. So maybe I should do more long form posts. And then when it goes into competitor breakdowns, it's going to go to each person, share what works with them, share what doesn't work. And then for me, my job as the human is to figure out, okay, what are these gaps that I can realistically fill? So if Justin Welsh is like very philosophical, for example, and not really talking about AI, well, I can go with a whole different AI angle and automatically would differentiate with him, right? Or if we go into Dan Cole, for example, too abstract for beginners, no practical guidance, talks about human potential and philosophy, but it's not very tactical on his LinkedIn content at least, right? So that is an opportunity. So the gaps, maybe some AI personal branding, showing the Southeast Asia lifestyle, me living in Vietnam, helping skilled professionals, you know, because I do help a lot of people who have 9-to-5 jobs, help them quit their jobs and make, you know, thousands of dollars per month, you know, selling their own services online and being more tactical, right? So this is actually realistic insights that I even use now, and I'm even using in this video just to show you how well it works. And then it's going to give me 10 different content ideas, so I can pick the ones that are the best. Now, your job is not to just blindly follow AI, but to think about, okay, are these ideas good? Does it truly fit my ideal customer? And if it does, then you go ahead and make them, right? And obviously when you use AI, you can take that idea and have it write the whole script. But you see, the ideation and the hard work of like figuring out what to do is done for you using Claude. And the best part is you don't even need to code. You literally just use my skills, copy and paste your profile, and it will do the magic for you. All right, so now we're gonna move to the next step, which is creating the actual content on LinkedIn using Claude. So the simplest way to do this is use a skill that I'm gonna give you called the LinkedIn Content Writer, okay? And essentially what you can do is two things. Number one, the skill is already good. So if you give it a raw idea, let's say you're just taking a shower or taking a walk, and then you're like, oh, this would be a great idea for a piece of content. You know, I give an example of just like writing some raw thoughts of like, you know, the idea that if you have a skill, you can turn it into a $10,000 per month business, right? So if I put this all in here, it's a bunch of typos. It's not, you know, it doesn't really make sense. It's just a bunch of raw thoughts. And what's going to happen is once I put it in and I use the skill, it's going to give me something that's pretty good. Now it's basing it off of the content that I previously posted because it knows my profile, because I gave it my LinkedIn profile already, right? So it's going to be writing it in my voice. So it's like your skills you use at your everyday job could be worth $10,000 a month online. And then I don't need to read the whole thing for you, but you get the idea, right? So that's the first way to create content. The second way is to do the exact same method, except you take another person's popular post and then you use it as the base, and then you add a couple ideas to it or a couple unique stories that's unique to you, and then it will write that for you, okay? So a lot of times I will use the base of another person's content, remix it, take the formatting, and then just make it my own version. And a lot of times I try to make it better. There's really a couple types of content you can make, and you just kind of repeat it over and over in just different ways, right? So number one, obviously your origin story. So like who you are, what transformation you went through. A lot of times when you create content, you're just solving a problem for your younger self, right? And so your origin story is a really good transformational story that people can connect to. If you do anything with contrarian beliefs, that will kind of get people excited about your content. So real quick, when it comes to what type of content you should be creating for LinkedIn, it's actually pretty simple. So like in the beginning of this video, I said, all these guys are making videos about how Claude will get you meetings, but they don't even do what they say, which is pretty true. So it's a contrarian take, because like all these AI creators, like if you look at their YouTube channels, they're just like spamming videos, and they'll be like, oh, like here's how to generate leads, but they've never done it before. Or, oh, here's how to build an AI website, but they've done it like one time, right? And so by me positioning as like, hey, I'm actually doing this for real, that is a contrarian belief in this particular market at this moment, right? Doing like value, tactical things always work. You know, Claude skills that you can download, like those works. I'm doing it in this video, right? Or client proof, right? Testimonials, all that kind of stuff. And even documenting your life, especially if you're selling something more lifestyle. Like for me, I help people quit their 9-to-5 jobs, build an online business and personal brand. So lifestyle does make a lot of sense for my particular niche, right? But again, you need to adjust it for your particular sale. So everyone's a little bit different, but the fundamentals pretty much are always going to be the same. And one thing that works really well for me is you just put a picture along with the text. This seems to be the one that gets the most engagement. So for this particular example, it's about how, you know, I quit my job to chase my dreams. And then I kind of put like me in Oracle, me in Thailand, and then me now, right? So stuff like this works really well. You can see another before and after. People love these transformations. And sometimes it can just even be me and my girlfriend hanging out, right? So it depends on what you're selling, what desired outcomes you're trying to flex to attract the right people. But again, every sale is different, right? If you're doing lifestyle, do more lifestyle stuff. If you're doing more like technical accounting stuff, then obviously it's going to look a little bit different. So now that we covered the content creation side, which is fairly easy if you have the skill, right? As in the Claude skill, the next step is actually doing the outreach. So how do you actually turn these views into clients? And also, how do you get meetings with people that don't even know who you are? All right, so when you're creating content, there's two things that are going to happen. Number one, people are going to view your profile. Number two, people are going to follow you. So if you go to your page and you click on followers, and I'm going to click on people that view my profile, all of these people that follow me, they are potential clients, right? These are leads. Anyone that looks somewhat qualified, we will add them to Sales Navigator, we will connect with them, and then we will send them a message. And because they looked at my profile, it's already warm, right? It's not cold outreach. So that's pretty much when they follow us. The other thing we do is when somebody views my profile, we also DM them. So not everybody that views your profile will follow. Sometimes they just view and do nothing. So if they haven't connected with us, we will send them a connection request if they look qualified. For these warm connections, right, this is pretty much the flow. When I connect with them, I never send the message on the first one because I'll just get a higher percentage of people connecting if I say nothing. Then on the first message, I typically say, hey, first name, great connecting with you, man. I saw that you, and then I'll look at their profile and find something specific, like whether they work at the specific company, whether they started their own business, maybe they have a YouTube channel or they have some hobbies. I'll just mention it. It doesn't actually matter what it is because you can always tie it into a business conversation. I'll say something like, hey, just curious, are you here for the content or looking to build your personal brand? Something like that. And a lot of times they'll just respond with, oh, I'm just here for the content. Then I'll say, oh, okay, well, what kind of content are you looking for? And then it starts the conversation. But if they say, oh, I actually was looking to build a personal brand, but I wasn't sure when to get started or how to get started. And I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. Like, what kind of personal brand are you trying to build? So that's essentially how I get all my conversations going when they're coming inbound. Now, when it's going outbound, it's a little bit of a different strategy because you can't say, oh, are you here for the content or looking to build your personal brand? Because, they don't know who you are, right? And typically what I'll do for outbound is very simple. Number one, I'll create a list of companies that have a specific problem. So I actually don't really use AI for the actual, personalization, because I've learned that you don't need to personalize it for the company for them to respond if you build a list where everyone has the same problem. For example, if you're a LinkedIn ghostwriter, right? You create content for other people. Well, maybe you're going after founders who have been posting on LinkedIn, but they just suck and they're barely getting any engagement. So if you build a list of 50 successful founders who regularly post on LinkedIn, but they get zero engagement, they all have the same problem, which is they're not good at LinkedIn content. So if you created a generic message tackling that problem, for them and their perspective, it's gonna be looking like you wrote it specifically for them, even though you didn't. So how do I know this works? Because I personally do it myself, right? So I'm using a software to basically automate the outbound messages. So you can see from this campaign here, out of 103 people, 69 of these people that have no idea who I am accepted my connection request. So that's like 48%, which is not bad. And this is cold. They had never seen my content before. They don't know who I am, okay? Now, out of the people that we actually sent a message to so far for this campaign, it's still live. 42 people we sent a message to, 26 people responded, right? So that's gonna be a 61.9% response rate. And mind you, I'm sending the generic same message to every single person and the same follow-up to every single person. So it doesn't have to be that personalized if you target a specific list that has a problem. Now, are there ways to create a message that is specifically for them? It takes a piece of content like that they posted and somehow puts it in. Yeah, you can definitely do that with AI, but realistically, it's quite technical for most people starting out. And if you just want your first, few clients using LinkedIn, I don't think it's necessary. You would rather just do this because it 100% does work. Now, if you need help writing your messages, all you have to do is use the skill Outbound DM Writer. And then I would highly recommend writing your first version of what the first message is going to be in the follow-ups and have it adjusted for you, right? Don't have AI do the whole thing for you because chances are it's not going to be that good. And the simplest way to think about messages and outbound is start with a pain, and then you kind of tease a solution. And if they're interested, they will respond. I'll give you a personal example that I'm doing. I'm not going to show you what the first messages are because I'm still using this strategy. So obviously it's confidential. But once I send the first message, the person responds, I might come in, especially if it's a higher value client, let's say it's more B2B. I might say like, hey, you want me to send over a content breakdown for your niche, something like that. And then they'll be like, yeah, give me some feedback. Then I'll make a whole Loom video explaining, what problems they have, how I solve it. Loom videos are typically, it could be 2 minutes around, maximum 3 minutes. And then you can see after they watch the video, they're like, hey, excellent feedback. Do you have WhatsApp? I'm open to explore a collab, whatever it is, right? Using AI to generate leads is great. But when you actually make a custom video for somebody, you know, my response rate on that is like extremely high, right? So if you mix in both together, like AI does all the grunt work, but then you add that personalization for the high value clients, it really goes a long way. So basically, if you do all the steps, right, you optimize your profile, you're creating content for the right ICP, ideal customer profile, and you're doing the right outreach, agitating people's pain, providing solutions, the natural next step for you is really just to ask them for a call. It's like, hey man, how about we jump on a call and I can share some ideas with you? Sure, send the calendar link, book, done. That's literally how we book like hundreds of calls, really, just using this strategy right here. You know, the crazy part is I have clients who literally just never really posted on LinkedIn. They're just starting, they still have a 9-to-5 job, and they just follow this exactly. 1 post a day, you know, 40 connection requests a day, and they're literally getting their first clients within the first 30 days, paying them high ticket, right? I have people like Ethan, Yvonne, Brandon, you know, all getting their first clients, like high paying, like $2,000 plus, without any experience doing this. So if you are on the fence of like, oh, should I build a personal brand on LinkedIn? Should I use Claude? 100%. Like 30 days of focus work will get you what you want. Now, even though you have the entire blueprint to do this yourself, for some people who are actually serious about building an online business, maybe quitting your 9-to-5 job and building a personal brand, I actually do work with people one-on-one to help you get clarity on this entire step. And I know that for a lot of people, the biggest challenge is even knowing what business idea you should do, what your personal brand should look like, and how you should even be reaching out to people. So these are all the things I do help people with. And like I mentioned, you know, a lot of my clients are able to get their first high ticket client within 30 days. And that's starting from zero while working a 9-to-5 job. So if you're someone who needs some guidance and needs some help and you want me to come up with a custom plan for you absolutely for free, and then we can see what it looks like if we did work together, feel free to book a call using the link in the description where you can talk to me directly and I'll come up with a plan for you. But if you want to watch another video and keep learning for free, check out this next one where I'm going to show you how to build a profitable 1-person business using AI.